Morning, everybody. Today is July 4th, 2024. How are you? Happy Independence Day. If this happens to be something that you are celebrating in the United States, though I would say that I had a huge recognition today in the cup. Sorry to get off the script. It's almost empty. Was Lavazza Perfetto. This is my second pot, and it's after 11 a.m. So I've been awake. The reason it's late, a little later today, is that I spent almost 2 hours solid writing. A recognition came to me that I had in my entire life, have been for my entire life, holding myself back in the sense of trying to always be optimally prepared for anything that might come along, even things that are not necessarily common circumstances. A former therapist told me, Jeff, you can't always be prepared for the lightning bolt that's going to strike you. And at the time, I recognized that I should cut myself some slack. But I think today, that therapist gave me an insight that I still use, and it seems to be helpful even to this day. And that is, when you find something it's been a heavy roadblock to try and track down where the first instance was or the most impactful instance was. And I think I tracked one down today, pretty significant one. And I'll try to summarize it quick. In seventh grade, my favorite teacher, Mr. Rhodes, he, every day you had an assignment, and every day you're supposed to turn your homework in at the beginning of class or before class started. And he most generally would wait for everybody. You could turn it in on his desk if you wanted, or you could wait for him to call for it. And I realized in my zeal to enjoy myself, I don't know, that I had left my homework in my locker. And so he called for the assignments, and I didn't have mine. And he gave me a detention for not bringing my homework. And I will tell you that that was the only detention I ever got in junior high, 3 years of school. And I think that instance, my favorite teacher giving me the only detention that I ever got, I think that had an outsized influence on some of the things that I wound up later doing. And I think that in the essence of what he intended for me to just remember, be more mindful in the future that you should bring your materials to class and be ready when the bell rings to start doing your lesson. There's nothing beyond that. No ethical or moral lesson. No criticism. Just what I want from you is to walk into the classroom ready to learn. If it takes you a return to your locker before the bell rings for you to accomplish that, I don't care. But what I want is for you to focus on being ready for class. And I think that given my feelings for him, he was my favorite teacher. He had lots of cool anecdotes about his time in the Peace Corps, and he had these devices that he could use to, I think he called it dowsing or witching for water, or he had some I don't know what they would call them, cartridges or cassettes or whatever, that had the device or had the object in it that you wanted to find. A little cartridge for water, a little cartridge for oil, a little cartridge for whatever. And you had these things, and you'd hold it in your hand, and the top would spin around when it had when it found the thing that it was designed to find. So anyway, very strong positive feelings for Mr. Rhodes. Very strong positive feelings toward trying to demonstrate always, and I was 12 years old, trying to demonstrate always that I was worthy of being inducted into adulthood, even at age 12, where people had no expectation. People didn't expect anything out of you like that until you're probably at the earliest out of high school, maybe even out of college. But I put the pressure on myself to perform at an adult level as soon as I was aware that there was such a thing. And so this event of him giving me the detention, I saw that as a more general criticism. Like I said, he probably didn't intend it as criticism. Almost certain that he didn't, um, because he didn't. When he issued me the detention, it wasn't, and he didn't say something attending to it like, and make sure that you're always prepared. It was like, make sure to come to class ready for learning, to class, his class, to this one class, not every interaction you're going to ever have in your life. And I think that that's when you're 12, it's possible for you to rewrite a channel in your brain that basically says, an adult told me that the expectation is that you're always prepared for everything, always, 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 always. And then if you're not, then there's something wrong with you, or that you'll be criticized, rightly criticized, justifiably criticized. And so I don't want to say that from that point forward, but I can say there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of instances where, instead of taking the extra 5 seconds to put my homework into a folder so that it would survive being in my book bag, that I just threw it in there. And then my assignment would always be wrinkled up, crumpled, folded over in weird ways, and I'd have to straighten it out when I submitted it. And I know I went through high school. In high school I carried this duffel bag. I'm holding my hands about 2 feet apart. It's probably a 24-inch duffel bag and probably 12-inch diameter. So you're talking pretty hefty capacity. I would stuff that thing with all the books that I might need that day and all the stuff that I might want to look at, books to read, assignments, um, pens, pencils, surplus paper, notebooks, everything I needed. And it weighed 20, 30 pounds. Everybody else had their books and whatnot. Their 20 pounds of books were in their lockers. And what they would do is pull the notebook and the folder and the textbook from the next class out of their locker and bring it with them to class, traveling light. And some people didn't even bring the textbook. And I judged them. Of course I did. Because I felt like I was ready, more ready. So when I look around myself, and I realized this when I was writing earlier too. I've got boxes, piles of stuff that I've got in the vainglorious belief that I will need such a thing. So I'm holding on to it. And I wouldn't say that I'm a hoarder. I wouldn't. But I do have a lot of surplus nonsense that I am protective of. I see a pencil on the ground, I pick it up. So that's the ones that are on my desk. Behind this, there's also a box of more pens. There's a box of fountain pens. There's a box. What I've been using lately is this pen. And you can see it's almost out of ink. And I've been using this legal pad. And, I've spoken about, my notebook. I used to carry something like this. Inside is an unlined composition book. Harder to find than you might think. And, I'm a sucker for a sale. So I saw this. It's got little dots. It's not unruled, but it's the closest thing to it. This is what they call an A5 size, and what I've taken to doing is writing in them, portrait style rather than landscape style. Because if you notice, they're about the same height. Anyway, I'm over prepared when it comes to paper and office supplies and whatnot, and I really feel kind of ashamed. There's I'm just sort of processing the emotions, recognizing that this 30-second interaction that I had with a favorite teacher in 7th grade, in addition to the other people in my family who, also diagnosed that I walk around sometimes underprepared, that I may have from that 30-second experience of feeling an intense emotion when I was 12, that I may have charted a course toward never feeling like I could enjoy myself unless I was fully prepared. And that's a difficult threshold. And in the scheme of things, I'm not going to say that I'm wealthy, but if I needed to buy another legal pad, I can afford to do that. I don't need to stockpile. And, I bought a box of 24 of these. And I'm about ready to open the second one. Also, shout out to Jerry Seinfeld. He's not a friend. He doesn't know me. I don't know him really, know of him. But he talked about the quintessence. Find the thing that fulfills the role that you want, and pursue that rather than 7,000 knockoffs, stand-ins, whatever. Pay whatever price. And the thing is, let me see if I can find an example here. pull an example. I don't prepare for these. What I'm looking for is a fountain pen uh, of any description. In any event, I've bought a lot of fountain pens in my life, and what inevitably leads them to go on the scrap heap is, or into the collection, I should say, is that they start being unreliable. Reliable. Um, I enjoy the way that the fountain pen feels in my hand while I'm writing, and yes, this probably could be slightly thicker, but it works. And guess what? This, I think, in the box that I bought, the box was $6 or $7, so that means this thing was 25 cents. The the fountain pens I buy start at $3 for the cheapest ones and go all the way. The most expensive one that I bought as a celebration for me getting tenure and promotion was more than $300. Do I use that pen on a day-to-day basis? No, I do not. So I recognize today that there's a limit of what people expect for preparation, and I've been way over that line, and to my own detriment, and probably making myself miserable. And that miserability, I made that word up, it's probably tangible, and that's why people tend to avoid having much to do with me. Hey, at least I got something to work on. All right, love you, bye.